Hello everyone and welcome back to the Riverbend Springs farm. We are on our way this morning over to Noah's sawmill. Now I had a bit of chat with him after last time. Told him about our difficulty moving the logs and how our winch is not quite up to the job. So he offered us a piece of kit for lease that is in between jobs right now. And yes, it's quite expensive, so he can't really afford having it sit around. So he agreed to let us lease it. And that means we need to make the most of it today. So we're just on our way to pick it up. And there it is. It's a Kohler yarder. So we can get that hitched up. Now that should help us out a lot. Getting the logs at least to a central location. But yes, the logs are quite heavy, and even this beast will probably only be able to move a single log at a time. But we also have on order at the dealer a log trailer, and we can go ahead and get that picked up later today. But yes, first off we need to get this to the woods and get it set up. Here we are. I think this is a good spot for it. So let's get it unfolded. Now we can detach it and go ahead and get it set up. Here we are. We have the yarder set up. Got it nice and secure. Now the plan is that we start with this hill here all the way down to the road, and as we secured the yarder rope across the road there, we can then cross the road and try to get the trees on the other side yarded up as well. We will however not be dragging them across the road as there is some traffic, so don't want to hit any cars with trees. But we will go ahead and get all these trees here cut down and pulled up the hill here. We might have to shuffle them around a bit. We will see. So we'll get that done, and I will see you when we're done with that. That's the last log of this hill section here, except for one hiding there. We'll have to come back with a tractor and get that one. Let's take a look how big of a mess we made up here. Oh yes, that's quite the pile indeed. We will have to get that sorted out with our tractor. Now these trees across the road here, we will just cut down and collect with our tractor. I think we have a nice section here. We can pile them in just off the road, so easy access to pick up the logs. Yes, this is very flat and nice, and fairly open as well. So we'll get the yarder packed up and get the logs up there, rode up nicely. Gonna cut down to size. We have to cut them in half to fit nicely onto the trailer we're getting. Yes, then we can move on to the far side here. We have a few over this way, which we also need to use the yarder for. And then there are a couple here on this stretch, but I think we can roll them down and get them picked up with our tractor down there, and we can use our winch to pull these down to the path down there. So we'll get this packed up, moved out of the way, and I think we will make a nice row of logs. We will extend this one a bit further and then make a neat row next to it as well. So let's just quickly drop up our front weight and get that moved over to the back where we need it. And we can get to work removing the logs that are piled onto the yarder. Now thankfully it is built quite tough, so that shouldn't affect things. So we'll move the logs, get the yarder out of the way, and make some neat rows of logs. So I will see you when that's done. And that's all of these logs sorted into nice piles, so we can come through and get them cut down to size. Think we have to cut them in 2 like we did last time. And more of that later. Now we need to get our yarder set up for the other section down there. We can drop off our weight and get the yarder in position. Now for this one it's going to be quite tricky getting a good setup going, as we have this cliff in the front there and quite a few trees around. But I think we want to get the yarder set up over here. Seems like a good spot for it. We can get that dropped off. Get that tractor out of the way. There we go. And we can go ahead and finish the setup process. There we go, the yard is set up. Got all the tie downs all set. So we can go ahead and come through, cut all of these down, just like before, and get him hauled up here. So I will see you when that's done. And that is the last log heading up the hill. Now I do expect we have made quite a mess again. Well, look, this one heading over here. Oh yes. That is quite the mess. Let's get this one as well. Make sure we don't have any lost logs. There we go. Now we can get this shut off. Everything disconnected. Now we somehow need to move it past all of these logs. We can even get our tractor past. Now we are paying quite a lot to lease this yarder, so we are paying by the hour on top of our initial fee. So yes, don't want to add too many hours onto there, and we also want to get it returned as quickly as possible. So we better get this packed up, get this folded down. Now I can get it out of here and returned back to Noah's. Then we'll be free of the fee by the hour. So we'll take this back to Noah's and stop by the store on the way back and pick up our new log trailer. Then I think we're gonna leave that big pile we just gathered until a later date, and just go ahead and get a trailer loaded up and taken back to our farm. But first up, Noah's sawmill. There we go. Noah had a job come up and was waiting for us to return it. So good thing we are all done with it. Cost us $4,800 and some change in total to lease. And from the logs we hauled with it, that should easily pay for itself. So next up is the store and getting our new log trailer picked up. There it is, already waiting, our new forestry trailer. Now it is a Kessler like our log wrap, so keeping on brand to that one. And we can extend the back of it for longer logs, so we can adjust this to our exact needs. So let's take this up to the forest and get it loaded up with logs. Here we are. Just need to pick up our rear weight. Then we can get the first log dropped in and we can see if we need to adjust our trailer to fit the logs properly. We are starting with the logs we got last time, and then we are gonna move on to the ones from today, and that's all done. And it looks like the standard fits just fine. So we will get our trailer loaded up, and I will see you then. There we go. Now I would call that a packed trailer. Now we only got the rest of what we started loading up last time, and that is perfectly fine. It is more wood than we can mill in a while, so all good there. I just need to get our trailer hooked back on and get our trailer attached and the last of the straps. Now this is quite a haul. We didn't need to extend our trailer at all, and that's the thing with these logs. I think we're gonna continue just cutting them right down the middle, and that's gonna fit the same on our trailer here. But at least it will be ready for whenever we have some longer logs we need to collect potentially. So yes, we will have to get the pile over there moved down here, these. But I think we won't be doing that today. This is getting fairly late. So we will take our logs we have loaded up back to our farm. And then we will come back in the future and get more of these logs here processed and taken back. And potentially we are gonna go ahead and sell some directly. I know Noah is always looking to buy some logs, so yes, we will have to take a look at that. But let's for now get this back to our farm. Alright, here we are, and we can go ahead and get our trailer just parked up here. And then we can get these loaded into the sawmill as needed. But here Grandpa Walter needs some more materials for his shed. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we need to deliver. Looks like it needs a pallet of each wood beams and the long planks. We'll get our weight drop off. And our log grab replaced with our pallet forks. And get those materials to him. There we go, delivery is completed, so you can get the wood storage closed back up. And I think that's all for today. Now we're just gonna go ahead and get our front loader dropped off. It's been a long day, exhausting, and we have another one next time. But our John Deere has taken quite a beating, so it's time for a bit of a service. So we'll end today with getting that serviced up. Then it'll be all ready to go next time. But yes, this is it for today. Thank you for watching. If you have any tips, tricks, or suggestions, leave them down in the comments. Drop a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time.